The new Clash mini update is here, and now that the dust has settled and the meta has been decided, I am going to be going through every single mini and hero in the September update and ranking them from worst to best. We have 6 tiers right here, S, A, B, C, D and F, and I will be using all of these tiers to rank them. F is anything that needs a desperate buff. It's absolutely out of the meta, you should not use it, it's stinky poo poo. B is pretty bad, like it could do with a buff, but it's not like at the level of F tier. C is it's bad, but it's not needing a buff necessarily, it's just kind of low average. B is high average, it doesn't need a nerf, it doesn't need a buff, it's perfect where it is. Everything should aspire to be in B tier so we have the perfect meta. It will never happen, but one day maybe everything will be in B tier. A tier is slightly strong, like they could nerf it, like there would be no harm in nerfing anything in A tier, and S tier needs a nerf, basically breaking the meta right now. A lot of this meta I've noticed is dependent on other things, so you may notice some things that were in A tier or even S tier last time, and now all of a sudden down in D or F, just because of the meta. And we're gonna actually start this out with the F tier, which is all kind of having a similar theme. Okay guys, so starting off the F tier, I have got the healing, whatever her name is, the healing swordswoman, the healing ranger, barbarian, and wave master. I have put these all in the place I have put them, frankly because the wizard has absolutely dominated this new meta. It's really weird. All of a sudden, anti-heal is just the most broken thing ever, which means these two already pretty bad troops are now redundant. Like well, they're not even redundant. That's not the word. That means there's better options. It's just useless. Like there's no point in using either the healing woman or the healing ranger. They're both just really in a bad spot. Barbarian has just always been bad. It's the starting troop, it's just kind of bad, it's not gonna be good, and it just goes here because it's always been here. And Wave Master, it got a lot of nerfs. It's understandable, it's gone all the way down. I think a lot of people will kind of find this F tier controversial. This is probably the most controversial tier of the entire list, if I'm gonna be real, and it's probably because of the Wave Master and the heals being solo. But there's better things that heal right now, honestly. So let's get to D tier. Okay guys, so we have got the D tier here, and honestly, I don't think this tier is too controversial. The Valkyrie's just kind of been in a bad spot lately. It doesn't consistently get more than 2 people on it at once. If it does, it doesn't do enough damage. Obviously, it's really good against stuff like Grand Warden and stuff with shields, but that's not the meta right now. There's nothing with high amounts of shield or anything that it's really good against. That is meta. The Shield Maiden as well, that's not meta, so it's kind of not here right now. The Bandit also got huge nerfs. I think it got 4. I can't remember the exact amount, but that was pretty hefty. So it's gone straight down from S tier to nearly the bottom of D, which is actually the one I'm like kind of torn upon the most. I've put it all the way down in B tier. I wanted to put it like B tier, but I've realised it's kind of awful against the new meta. Royal Champion is the best hero right now. I'm going to spoil my own thing. It's the best champion. I think you guys know this. It is kind of obvious. And Witch is known for being the worst troop against Royal Champion. Every time that Royal Champion uses their super, if they kill something, they get their super straight back. They will kill a skeleton, most likely, if you have a witch down, which means they will be constantly chaining supers, which negatively affects your team. It's awful. Next we've got Fisherman. Fisherman was actually really good last update. I would say it was a high A tier to low S tier, but the whole thing with being able to only go 3 tiles now with its hook, it's just not good. It's basically killed the card. Like, the new Royal Champion meta, now that Fisherman's out the way, Royal Champion is basically only good because of that, because you can just put everything right in the back, and what is the plan? And Skeleton King is kind of there for the same reason. Everything's going to be grouped up in a corner, so it's kind of difficult to be able to kill everything. And obviously they'll do less damage, because Skeleton King does damage to separate opponents, does more damage to separate opponents, you know? So moving on, we have got the C tier. Okay, next guys, we've got the C tier. It may be somewhat controversial this tier, but I honestly don't think it really is. It's kind of just all the cards that are just slightly below average. Like, they're just not really picked all that much. They're probably the cards you're just not really seeing right now. We've got Royal Ghost. Royal Ghost obviously had its meta a few updates ago, but since then it's kind of just disappeared into obscurity. It's sad. The Swordsman, again, I don't actually know what happened, because it was A tier around the time Royal Ghost was S tier. One of the things it counted must have just died, because it died with it. I don't think it got any nerfs or anything, but Swordsman just kind of disappeared, and it's sad. Obviously Mini P.E.K.K.A. and the whole Dissipate thing didn't work too well. Mini P.E.K.K.A. is very situational, which I would apply to everything in this tier. Like, if you don't have the right situation to have these cards, they're useless, but they probably work in 1 or 2 decks, like, really well. So it's kind of hit or miss, and right now with this meta, they're all kind of miss. Spear Goblin, there's just better replacements. Just play a Boa, play a Prince. Even Fisherman can work better sometimes, but I don't think Spear Goblins are that good. Obviously, there's stuff like Archer and Magic Archer, better for range as well. We have Lumberjack. I actually think Lumberjack's pretty good, being a mini tank, but there's just better options. Like, the Knight's just better, the Golden Giant's just better, even the Skeleton Guard's just better. It's not really used much, and it's not worth using. Dark Goblin can go absolutely crazy, I will not lie, and I have had so many games where I would have like him put in S tier in my opinion just because he wrecks me so hard. But honestly, there's better replacements. I feel like he's a very situational again. He can get so much value or he gets no value. It's no in between, and a lot of the time he just gets none. We have Grand Warden, and I saw this comment on Reddit and how his entire comp can just get destroyed by 1 mini. I think they were talking about the Prince or the Fisherman. Either way, yeah, it kind of does. They could have been talking about the Miner as well, I'm not sure. But he's very, very situational as a hero. He's probably the most situational hero. Like, there's a lot of the time where he can just be deleted, and it's just because of a matchup. It's not even because of him just being good or bad. It's not even fair, and it's not based on the players either that much. Next we have Shield Maiden and Natureborn. I kind of felt like these two were the misfits. They're not like great. I wouldn't choose them over other heroes, but they're just kind of there. So we've got the B tier next. Okay, we've got the B tier, and I honestly didn't think I was going to put Musketeer this high, but I kind of realised she's sneakily good. She's just really underutilized. I feel like that's it. Like, she's B tier just because I feel like she's not used enough for how good she is, which probably would mean she could even go A tier, but I don't think she's that high. She's just very good, but not used at all. That's my thought process with him. With her, with him, with him, with her. Skeleton Guard. Skeleton Guard, obviously you can pair this with Grand Warden and get so much shield. It is wonderful. I love the Skeleton Guard. It's probably my favourite mini in the game, I'm not even going to lie. P.E.K.K.A. is probably my favourite Clash Royale troop, but I've got to be real, Skeleton Guard is just so fun as a Clash mini troop, and I don't know, it's just really fun. And obviously it can be used in so many situations. It can stop stuff like a Prince, it can protect troops in the back, it can just be used how the Giant Skeletons used to just set up a bomb, but instead it just gives everyone shield. It has a lot of uses, and the 2 Elixir, I think it's probably one of the most underrated cards in the game. Next we have Mega Knight and Boa. I feel like these are kind of situational, but they're better, and they're better in more situations, if you get what I mean. I feel like Mega Knight is just kind of countered by P.E.K.K.A. a lot, but if they don't have a P.E.K.K.A. it can go rampant. It can literally destroy everything, but obviously that is kind of situational. You just have to hope they don't have a P.E.K.K.A. And Boa, it can obviously be better than Prince if they all line their troops up, but a lot of the time at higher level they don't do that. It's like the Fisherman where you have to use it on the very last turn, otherwise they'll just counter it. So you've got to play your cards right, you know. Next I put Monk and Countess. Again, these kind of felt misfitty. I was like, where should I put them? I feel like Monk and Countess deserve to go together though, because they both feel as strong as each other in my opinion. Monk can tear down low, but I feel like up high it starts to struggle just a bit, because obviously there's so many ways to counter it. This is the one situation where Witch is good. If Monk ever becomes better, we know Witch is going to become better as well. Obviously the Monk is insane with its super. It's basically just a stronger Pink Fury super obviously, and it can go really crazy sometimes. The Countess I put as well because obviously it can go rampant, but like it doesn't always. Sometimes it's just kind of mid. And I put that Archer Queen because obviously Royal Champion is just much better at the moment, and it's just better options. I just don't think you should play her at the moment. Okay guys, we have got the A tier, which starts with the Golden Giant. I honestly think, considering this is an anti-hero meta where you don't really want to play healing troops, the Golden Giant manages to pull off, being the only troop I would say is good at healing, because of the sheer amount of healing it does. Like, you cannot tell me that this boy does not heal. He heals like 30% in 2 seconds, and no, it's 20% in 2 seconds and 30% in 3 seconds with 2 abilities. Say he's stunned and also stunned somebody, he's healing 50% like in like 3 seconds. Like, what is that? That's like half his health. He's one of the tankiest minis in the game, keep in mind. Like, excuse me? Hello? That sounds kind of broken. I think Golden Giant needs a slight nerf. Next we have the Skeleton King. Giant Skeleton. Obviously a bait card, but I feel like it is slightly better than Skeleton Guard as a bait card. Obviously the Knight is better, which we'll get to later, but the Giant Skeleton can obviously do so much damage. It can stun for so long. That pairs well with stuff like the Golden Giant. It pairs well with the Wizard, while it can splash them all while being stunned by it. It's very good at pairing in the meta right now, and that's kind of what makes it good. E-Wiz is just always good. They haven't really nerfed it, and I feel like just because of that, it always deserves to be A tier until it's nerfed. It's not situational at all. It's very versatile. There's literally barely any times where it doesn't want to be used. The only times I could think of is if Bandits ever meta, but like that's not gonna happen anytime soon or recently, you know. Next we have a Wizard, and I don't really know how this happened, but Wizard just popped up. I think its 3rd star was replaced with anti-heal, because I know it's got anti-heal now, and I'm assuming it swapped out or something, because out of nowhere, everyone's just saying anti-heal is crazy, anti-heal go bruh, anti-heal go bruh, I can't do it, anti-heal go bruh, anti-heal go pop pop pop, and like, it's just really, really strong, you know. Obviously it stops a lot of troops from healing. That's kind of what anti-heal does, and it just causes many situations where a troop would have won but doesn't because it doesn't have the health anymore. Next we have Ice Wizard. You would think after the whole 3rd star change being so OP before and kind of going to an average kind of 3rd star, you'd think it would be kind of bad, but honestly I think that Ice Wizard has literally got just as good of a 3rd star as it did before. Obviously it's not the same, like being stuck in ice for 3 seconds could be very good, but at the same time it was very situational. Like, if they had a Prince or a Fisherman, Ice Wizard was perfect, but if they didn't, Ice Wizard was kind of mid, you know. It was kind of like B, C tier, but that made it good. And the shield thing kind of makes it so it can heal the troops that are getting hit, but it doesn't fully protect them, and it doesn't stop them from fighting. Basically just makes the game a lot more fun while keeping him at the same place in the meta. Next we have Knight. The Knight is honestly the best mini tank, and I can't really explain why, because you should just know. Obviously the taunts making everything go for it is great distraction. That's what the mini tank should have, you know. Like, taunts are just so good in this game, and being able to gain a shield from that, obviously pairing well with other shield troops, just makes it very good and very versatile. In the top of the minis for A tier, I've got P.E.K.K.A. P.E.K.K.A is very, very strong. P.E.K.K.A just slays. P.E.K.K.A is that queen, and I don't really know what else to say for her. She's just very, very strong. She can do 24 damage consistently, which is insane, and she basically just breaks down everybody if they don't have a counter to it. Finally, in the top of A tier, we have Pink Fury. Pink Fury is the best hero in the A tier right now, just because she's new. They haven't balanced her much. She can get elixir fast, and she can do damage with that elixir fast. End of story. Moving on. Okay guys, we have your S tier right here, and I honestly didn't want to put Barbarian King up this high, but a lot of people have just been saying, oh my god, he's the strongest thing to ever exist. Oh my god, he is meta. Oh my god, he's so strong. It's literally all I've seen. The only other thing I've seen about this meta is Royal Champion is OP. Oh my god, Royal Champion. Oh my god, I just lost to Royal Champion. Nerf Royal Champion. Royal Champion is the new meta. Like, it's just these two. It's literally just these two as champions right now. Like, don't play anyone else. I really feel like Royal Champion deserves to be meta, but I don't see it with Barbarian King. I'm gonna be real. The only reason I've really put him this high is because everyone else is saying that. And honestly, I don't want to get a Kairos time treatment where I say something and everyone just attacks me for it. So I am being generous to you guys and giving you what you want. I would have probably put him B tier, but I can let it slide this one time. If people tell me Barbarian King's not this good, I swear to God. But all these troops are obviously very consistent. I feel like mine is probably the most controversial on this list. Obviously, he could be down like B tier because there's other things that can just get to the back line just as fast and do more damage, such as the Prince. But I do think it's very good at chipping away. Obviously, it has the Dissipate, which is very good for stuff like Brawl Champion and Electro Wizard sometimes. It can just do a lot, and it is a lot, and he is my king. Next we have a Magic Archer. Magic Archer can literally secure games. I don't know how they let this guy have so much health and so much damage, and they haven't really done anything to try and nerf it. I think they have a bias towards him. Honestly, I kinda do. When I'm playing him, I love him. When I'm playing against him, I hate him. No in between. Next we have the Prince. I feel like the Prince controls games nowadays. A lot of people play anticipating a Prince from the enemy, so they play according to that, rather than just placing it based on what they think is going to happen elsewhere. Like, a lot of the game depends around what the Prince is going to do and where the Prince can strike, which means a lot of people are saving their mini tanks, a lot of people bringing mini tanks, and a lot of people are worried about him making him good, and a lot of people are obviously bringing him to the game. And I feel like that just makes him S tier, you know? I feel like that's the least controversial one on this list, if anything. Next we have Archer and Dagger Goblin. Archer just so good right now. Its rework made it really strong. It was probably A tier before, but I feel like even with these cards it probably gets complemented even further. It can do so much in the back, just sitting around. It's so difficult to counter, and I hate it. I actually love playing it though. It's probably one of my favourite minis in the game right now. I would say if I had to pick a top 3, it'd be P.E.K.K.A, minis. It'd be P.E.K.K.A, Archer, Skeleton Guard, if I had to pick right now. So there you are. As for the Dagger Goblin, it's new. It's got buffed because it was new, and now it's insane. It's literally insane. It does so much damage. It ramps up so fast. It's so hard to like hit. Once you think you've killed it, it just goes invisible. It's like, it's just such a pain to deal with, and it's so annoying, and I love it. So the champions, we'll have Barbarian King. I've already talked about him, so I'm gonna kind of just leave him here. I don't think he should be this high, but a lot of people have, so you know, he's there. And we have the Royal Champion. The Royal Champion, personally, is kind of just like breaking the meta right now. It's the new Wave Master, in my opinion, and this is mainly because it's just super is so strong, and being able to stack stuff in the back while the fishermen and stuff like that can't do anything about it is very strong. There's so many decks you can build around the Royal Champion, and many things you can do to keep her safe while dealing huge damage to the opponents and basically killing their team in one go. It's very, very good. And if you're not playing the Royal Champion right now, go play her. Goodbye.